Hey Porsche fans, Daniel here, and today I've got a special video. Today we're gonna have a Zoom call with Boaz Lev-Ari. He lives down in LA, and around Venice Beach, he caught the GT4 RS prototype rolling the streets of LA. He took some video, he took some pictures, and he posted them on the GT4 Renlisters group. So I contacted him and asked him if he wanted to have a chat about his experience running into the GT4 RS. All right, so without further ado, let's get to it. So, Boaz, you pronounce your last name Lev-Ari, or is that how it goes?
Yeah, Lev-Ari.
Good.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for posting up these videos of the GT4 RS that you saw. Was it down in Venice? Is that right?
Yeah, in Venice. Yeah.
Very cool. So, before we talk about what you saw and all, tell us about you. What's your relationship with Porsche? Do you have one? I mean, you posted on the Facebook group.
So I have the Spyder.
Oh, cool.
I have a black 2020 Spyder.
Nice. I really wanted the Spyder, but it was just, I think my girlfriend didn't like how the hard top, or how the top took so much energy to put up and down, but it was a tough call. I like them both a lot.
To be honest, I initially wanted the GT4 and then just happened to pass by, not a Porsche dealership, just a parking lot. And I saw a Spyder, a 2016 Spyder. And I was like, oh, wow, it looks really nice. Then I started looking at both of them suddenly, the GT4 and the Spyder. And just happened that I chose to have the Spyder because my kids can drive with me and it's kind of like a convertible, so they get more excited. And because the big difference between the GT4 the 2020 is actually a GT, so the Spyder is actually a GT4 in 2020, like all the suspension setup.
Yep.
So that's why I said, you know what, I might as well have it.
Yeah, it's pretty much all the same. That's awesome. All right, so tell me about this. You're driving, looks like you're driving probably your work truck or something. And of course, being a Spyder GT4 fan, you probably noticed that car right away, didn't you?
Yes, it was actually funny. I was dropping my wife and kids off at LAX at the airport. And on my way back from LAX, I'm noticing this, like 2 cars ahead of me. I'm noticing this ginormous wing on a GT4. So I'm like, all right, let's see, you know, so you pass the cars next to you just to see why do they have such a ginormous wing. And as I get closer, I realize that it's the same wing of the GT3, the new one. It's kind of like the swan thing happening for it. So then immediately it gets my attention. And then as I get closer, I notice that they have the race release for the wheels. And then I'm like, oh my, is this the new GT4 RS? And as I'm thinking this, I notice a few more things that immediately give it away. Like there's a vent on the rear side windows have an air intake. And then you can see how they covered those slits that they have over their fenders. And as I go past it, you see that it has also air vents on the hood. So there's all this, I'm like, oh my God, this is the GT4 RS, and I'm like going like this. So the guy who was driving it, who was having fun, me realizing that I know what he's driving in. Yeah. Wow.
And you know, unfortunately, your video, of course, had a lot of wind in it. But you said that you did get to hear it pretty well. Did you get on it at all?
So here's the hard thing. It sounded wonderful. It sounded really good. But the other day I saw a GT4, normal GT4, and it also sounded really good. And I think my only comparison is from inside my car. So I think the car generally sounds a lot better from outside than it is on the inside. So I don't know if there's anything that they did significantly, but it sounded really good from outside.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of spy footage out there of it on the track and stuff, and it seems to sound different, but sometimes, yeah, it's hard to tell. But, you know, there's a lot of mystery, of course, with the car, and we're assuming it's still the 4.0 engine. You know, whereas they could have changed the exhaust totally. The outlets are a little different from some of the pictures I saw, the exhaust tips. So maybe.
I was trying to look, but it was kind of hard to see that. I was trying to see if there's any difference in the exhaust, but from my from driving next to it, it was a bit hard because it's also very low and.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look. I'll pull it up here on the share screen. Here are the two photos you got. Yeah, I looked at them pretty closely, and I found some interesting things because over time the prototypes have. There's been some changes over time. They have changed wheels. We've seen brakes change, but there are a couple things a little different on this one that I noticed.
See, I would love to have these wheels on my GT4.
Yeah,
on my Spyder, I guess.
I think they're all new. I know they tested it for a while with GT3 RS looking wheels. I don't know if they're actually GT3 RS wheels because who knows if the offsets are quite the same.
No, size-wise, these were the same size as ours.
Yeah.
Those were 20s.
I would say so, but
just that quick release is what was interesting.
Yeah, the center lock, right? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. But you didn't notice if the tires looked any wider?
No, that was too hard.
Yeah.
Because it's such a low car, even on my car, you don't get to see, unless you're like laying on the floor, you don't get to see how wide those tires are. But you see the vents on the rear side windows.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can't miss. The minute you see that, you're like, oh my God, this is a GT3 RS.
Yeah, that thing is getting some extra air, and there's little grills in there to protect from ingestion. So it's interesting, like if, what are those cooling? Are they, going to the engine really? Or because, we know the side scoops feed the engine, but, do the other vents feed the brakes perhaps? Like the front hood NACA vents are supposed to cool the brakes like the GT3 RS. So what do you think that those side vents are for?
No, I was totally thinking they're for the engine.
Mm-hmm. Right. So does the engine have now 4 intake points would be interesting.
And then my what I'm thinking is, this being an RS, is it possible that it would even be higher revving? Like get to 9,000.
Yeah, is it possible?
And then, who knows? And then the other thing I noticed, because my Jeep, so my work truck is a Jeep.
Okay.
Like the Jeep Gladiator thing. So I sit a little higher and I can see inside the car next to me if it's this low, obviously. So I noticed that he had the same stick shift that the new GT3 RS have. That the thing that looks like it's manual.
It looks like a manual, yeah.
The PDK, the fake manual PDK thing.
Yeah.
The lever. So yeah, it had one of those, and I was like, oh wow,
cool.
That's kind of cool. So that makes this car be really a great, in my opinion, great track car.
Yeah, I do like that front splitter that's on this. It extends out a little more like the GT3 RS splitter does. And they've still got, from other spy shots, we've seen the black tape over the splitter because it probably says GT4 RS on it, right?
I know, yeah. I noticed that.
And then they've got the tape over those side vents. I'm not sure, is it just extra air for air curtains to go over the wheels or what? But I'm not sure if I like those. If they take the tape off,
I actually love them.
You like those? They're just they're a little extra, I feel like. But
well, they fit this car. They wouldn't fit my car, but I do think they would fit a GT4.
I noticed also these headlights. They're the base model headlights, and I mean maybe it's just because it's a test car, And then they've got the front bumper.
And it doesn't have. Look at the brakes. It doesn't have ceramic brakes.
Well, I know the front brakes though are black calipers, so we know that you can get your ceramics painted in black, right, with the calipers painted in black, but the rear brake is the red one, which is odd because we know that the red is always the steel. And you're right, the rotors though, I think the rotors,
I looked at the rotors.
Yeah.
In this specific car, I'm 100% sure they're just the regular steel brakes. They're not ceramics. Which was surprising to me at the moment when I saw this car.
Well, I'm wondering if they just put these on maybe for road testing, because we have seen on the prototype they've had the full yellow calipers suggesting the carbon fiber brakes or carbon ceramic brakes. So yeah, it is interesting that we've seen this car with just the red calipers and steel brakes. We've seen it with all yellow calipers and carbon brakes, and now this is kind of weird. You got black caliper up front, steel rotor, red caliper in the rear, steel rotor. It's interesting. There is this little. Does this look like? This is extra here, I think. This is little fin.
It is. Yeah. It's 100%. I'm noticing it now, and we don't have it in our car.
Yep. You talked about the fenders. We've known that they've been taping over the fenders, so it's probably got vents a lot like GT3 RS, and it looks like it's got wrap in this section too. So maybe that vent drops down like it does on the GT3 RS. And then another thing I noticed in the back is this is the first time I've seen the larger duckbill spoiler. The previous pictures I've seen of the prototype had one that was more like the regular GT4. But they've added a light back there. You've got to have a light because this big spoiler is probably blocking the one that would normally be in the back window.
Yeah.
So I think that this duckbill is going to be, you know, for sure the one we get. But man, this wing is huge.
You know, that's the first thing I noticed from being right behind it. I guess even 2 cars behind it, and I've noticed it immediately, and it looks significantly bigger than the regular GT4.
Oh yeah, that's man,
like an airplane.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, so, you know, predictions are, we've seen a number of predictions, maybe 450 horsepower, maybe 499, somebody said, with some strong confidence. But, you know, it's hard to imagine that they could get that much extra power out of this engine. You know, we've already heard that some of these exhaust companies claim 30 to 50 horsepower just by doing a full exhaust from the headers back. So we know that there's something there, but, man, I mean, pulling out another, what, 86 horsepower out of the same engine, it'd be interesting to see.
And I think my curiosity is if on the RS they'll do anything with the suspension. That's so the new GT4 RS has upgraded the front suspension from the older model. So I wonder if they're doing anything in that, like the double wishbone and all that stuff.
That would be amazing.
On the other hand, it's kind of a perfect car the way it is. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just wonder what it. But what I am sure is that really it just looks mean.
Yeah, it looks mean for sure. There are definitely some elements I would like to change in my car to look like that. I don't know if I want to drive a GT4 RS all the time. I mean, it is supposed to be definitely the most raw. You know, the GT3 RS at least, and I'm sure that it's. As much as we love the GT4 and Spyder as a daily driver, I can't imagine.
Yeah, they're not good for daily driving.
But that one actually looked lower, wouldn't you say?
It's such a hard question to ask. I don't know, because it already looks extremely low. When you look at a GT4 or a Spyder, they already are so low.
Here's, you know, the back of my car. Yeah, maybe not.
I think if it's going, in my opinion, there's no, you have a GT4, I don't think there's many moments when you do joyful driving that you're saying, oh, I wish I had more power.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. I can't imagine.
I think only if you're in a track situation, you're like, oh, I could use more.
Like when the GT3 ahead of you just pulls away on the straights, that's, it doesn't make you feel that good, but.
Exactly, so I think if it has a little bit more power, you might be okay with that, and I think just, there's something for me. So the reason I never wanted the 911 was because of the difference in size and the difference in the location of the engine. I don't need more power. I need controllable power, and I need pace to be fast.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because they go really, really fast, and then they slow down, and they go really, really fast and slow down. So in the GT4 and the Spyder, you just have a certain pace that you can go that's really fast with them, because you don't have to slow down as much for a corner.
Yeah.
And because you didn't slow down as much, you don't have to gain as much speed when you exit.
It is as they say, just the best driver's car, right? And so well balanced. All right, well, thanks so much for posting that, first of all. I mean, usually we get these spy shots and they're from like the photographers at the track, but here we are, just apparently the GT4 RS must be getting close to being produced, because it's just cruising around the streets of LA. It's got American bumper on the back that fits the American plates. Yeah. All right, Boaz. Well, thanks so much. And hopefully we'll find out very soon what this car is like.
Yeah. Hopefully.
All right. You have a good day, man.
Thanks. Nice meeting you.
All right, folks, there you have it. The GT4 RS has been spotted on the streets of LA, and to me, that means that we're getting closer to the official release, and I'm super excited. Except, I'm not excited at the fact that after that comes out, my GT4 is not gonna seem so badass. But hey, it's a GT4, it's badass nonetheless, right? Now, if you want to know more about the thoughts on the prototypes that are out there and what we think is going to come of the GT4 RS, there's a really great video on YouTube I want you to check out. I'll post a link here and down in the description. It's by Arc Driver, and it's called the GT4 RS, Everything We Know. And he goes in depth, pointing out all the details on the prototypes pretty much over the last year or so, and everything we think is happening with the GT4 RS. And of course, only in a couple months, I'm sure, we're going to find out how right or wrong we are about all these things. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please show me by hitting that like button. It helps the channel a lot. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of future videos. I've got more Porsche content coming. Thanks so much for watching the Jeff Violi channel. We'll see you next time.